Today you guys are going to learn how to graph reciprocal functions. You're going to be able to recognize what the equation looks like. You're going to be able to make a table of values. We're going to be able to look at the asymptotes, vertical and horizontal asymptotes, and then sketch a rough graph. First, I want you guys to type this in your calculator. And what I've done is I've set you up with a table of numbers. But these numbers, you're not going to need them all. Okay, but what I want you to do is type this in your calculator. So, how do we do that? Okay, so we're going to add a graph. Now, how do you type in y equals 1 over x? What do? You're going to hit that button where you get your fraction, and then you're going to do 1 over x. And hit enter. Now, what do you see there? Describe this graph to me. This is one part of the graph, and here's the other part. How would you describe the shape of this? I'll tell you what they remind me of, but I want to hear from you guys before I tell you what I think of when I see this. This is called the reciprocal function. And what you're going to notice in all of these equations, you're going to have an x and a y. The x is in the denominator of a fraction. The y, it's y equals 1 over x, or a number over x. What does that look like to you? Anyone? They remind me of two boomerangs. You guys know what a boomerang is? That's what they look like to me. All right, now, what is happening to these two boomerangs, and where are they located? What quadrants are they located in? What are these quadrants? What's this quadrant called?
First.
1, and this one is 3. So these two boomerangs are in quadrant 1 and 3. Let's look at the table of values.
You said my man?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Thanks.
So hit Control T, and let's pick out some numbers here that we like. So if we look at the negatives, what's happening to these negatives? So -1, -2, -3, -4, what's happening? They're getting smaller and smaller, but they're never going to cross the y-axis. But what numbers are easy for us to use? What numbers are easy? Anyone? -1. What's y? What's if f is equal, if x is equal to -1, what's y equal to? -1. How about 0? What do you notice is at 0?
Undefined.
Undefined. That's your asymptote. And at 1, what do we have? 1. I want you to just look at these numbers. And I want you to sketch this graph. First of all, there are two asymptotes. These are imaginary lines that the graph gets closer and closer to, but does not cross. And that's what these are. Those are your asymptotes. You have x equals 0 and y equals 0. Now these points right here, these are not the only points that make up this graph. But these are the integers that I like. So let's graph them. Over 1, up 1, and over 1, down 1. And then we have two boomerangs. Looks like this. Okay, we're going to do a few of these until you see the pattern. As soon as you see the pattern, we're going to run with them. Okay, everyone's look at the equation. And look at your points. Over 1, up 1. So right 1, up 1, left 1, down 1. Okay, let's try the next one. I want you to graph that one. So this one is now 2 over x. How does it differ from the other one?
Boomerang is farther apart.
Yep. Can you look at the table, are we in the same quadrants?
Yeah.
Yes. Hit Control T, and let's look at our points that we can graph. So it looks like -2, -1, -1, -2. 0, we've got undefined again. We've got 1, 2, and 2, 1. I want you to sketch the graph of this. Again, we have 2 asymptotes. Here. And here. So these points that I'm gonna sketch are, we're gonna go over 1 and up 2, over 2 and up 1. So that's this boomerang. And then over 1, down 2, and over 2, down 1. And that's this boomerang. So the importance of these asymptotes is you need to understand that this boomerang is getting, as you move to the right, it's getting closer and closer to that imaginary line, but it's never gonna cross it. So for this one, we went over 1, up 2, over 2, up 1, over 1, down 2, over 2, down 1. Look at this equation and look at these points. See if you see a pattern. Try the next one. Over x. And what's happening? It's moving away from that origin. Look at your table. Control T. What are your points? Over 1 up 3. Over 3 up 1. 0, we have undefined. -1, -3, -3, -1. So over 1 up 3, over 3 up 1. Anyone see a pattern yet? So this one was 1, 2, 2, 1.